Hey guys, how we doing? Back with another listography. Today we are talking about the kings of Canadian power pop, Sloan. Sloan is a band with a lot of different influences. They started out heavily influenced by punk and hardcore and shoegaze. Eventually started adding power pop and Beatles-esque pop, as well as classic rock, stuff like AC/DC, Rush, Cheap Trick, all that stuff ends up getting mixed together, ends up being a very interesting blend of influences. So let's get started. They've got 12 albums. So looking at number 12, and it is called Smeared. One great song on the album, the song Underwhelmed. It's still a staple of their live shows. But the songwriting on the rest of the album, not quite up to par. A lot of it is just preoccupied with a lot of guitar noise. It's cool. Sort of a snapshot in time, very of its moments, but not much that really stands the test of time, aside from Underwhelmed. Number 11, Twice Removed from 1994. This is their sophomore album. You start to see some of the power pop influence coming into play here. Songs like Coax Me, Snowsuit Sound, I Can Feel It, very poppy. This album is definitely better than Smeared, but not great. There are a handful of pretty weak tracks here that I don't care for. Songs like Bells On, Loosens, and Before I Do. So all in all, it's just an okay record. Number 10, from 2014, the album Commonwealth. This was an album that they decided to put out as a double album, with each of them having ownership of their own side of the record. So if you don't know, Sloan, 4 members, all write, all sing. So this was sort of akin to the sort of like Kiss releasing their 4 solo albums on the same day, except here they only get a side of a record instead of a whole record. Songwriting's hit or miss. There's some good songs, there's some not so good songs. Splitting the album up into sides like that also detracts a bit from the sequencing. It doesn't have the smoothest running order. I like You've Got a Lot on Your Mind and Cleopatra a lot from Jay's side of the record. I like Chris's You Don't Need Excuses to Be Good. The 48 Portraits is cool. Their drummer, Andrew Scott, his side of the record, he puts one long sort of medley of songs together for the full side. But it's I do think the record suffers from being split up, and that's why it's a bit lower on the list. Number 9, I'm going with Navy Blues from 1998. This record sounds very dated. I don't know exactly how to explain what bad rock production from the 90s sounds like, but I think if you go back and listen to this, you'll go, oh yeah, exactly. That's a 1998 rock record. A few songs here are good. Keep On Thinking, Chester the Molester, mostly just because they're so catchy. This is a lot of people's favorite Sloan record, but if I had to venture to guess, that would be people who, are just getting into Sloan around this time. Those first records that you hear by a band are ones that stick with you. I think they captured a larger audience with this, but I don't really think that this is one of their better records. All right, moving on, number 8, 2018, their most recent from this year. The number The record is called 12, being that it's their 12th studio album. Some great songs on here: Right to Roam, Essential Services, Don't Stop, Wish Upon a Satellite. I do feel a little bit like they're starting to repeat themselves a bit. Their last 3 or 4 records have had a similar production sound. So that's maybe what holds this album back a bit, but the songs are pretty good. All right, number 7, 2001's Pretty Together. This is kind of an interesting record, kind of a different record for them. A wide variety of songs. Some are very good. It does have maybe 2 of my least favorite Sloan songs on it, though. Pick It Up and Dial It, Life of a Working Girl. Not crazy about those. But it has In the Movies, It's in Your Eyes, Who You Talking To, I Love a Long Goodbye, Are You Giving Me Back My Love, Your Dreams Have Come True. Really, the back half of this album is very strong. The last 5 albums or so, or the last 5 songs on the album are really, really good. So yeah, a little bit of a mixed bag, but we're getting up into the good stuff now. Number 6 is 2003's Action Pact. This was kind of like a last-ditch effort to break through onto rock radio in the US. So they hired a producer and made a really streamlined meat and potatoes rock and roll record. Makes it kind of unique in their catalog. It doesn't sound like any other Sloan album. But I like that about it. It's a good record to put on for highway driving. Songs like Gimme That, Live On, Backstabbin', False Alarm is cool, Nothing Lasts Forever Anymore is great, Ready For You. You hear a lot of their 70s rock influence on this album, probably more so than any other record. You can hear, Kiss in some of the harmonies that they're singing, or Cheap Trick, a lot of stuff like that, AC/DC. So maybe this album won't be for everybody, but I think it's an interesting entry. Number 5 is from 2011, The Double Cross. This is a great pop record, pretty solid front to back. I love Jay's song, The Answer Was You, Shadow of Love by Chris, and then Beverly Terrace again by Jay, with a bit of Shadow of Love reprised near the end. It's very cool. So yeah, a good, solid album. For number 4, we're going to 2008, the album that came just before The Double Cross, and that is Parallel Play. I really like most of the songs on this record. Not crazy about Dogs, but Believe in Me is great. I love the sort of like fuzzy, tiny sounding guitar in the beginning. Cheap Champagne's a great pop song. Burn For It's cool. Witch's Wand is one of my favorite Sloan songs. I'm Not a Kid Anymore is a song that sounds like it would have fit in on Action Pact, really like streamlined rock and roll song. I love the lyrics on there, they're very funny. Let's move on to number 3. This was probably like the first great Sloan record from 1996, their 3rd album. This is where some of the things that they were attempting on Twice Removed become fully realized. Songs like The Good in Everyone, Autobiography, Junior Panthers, Everything You've Done Wrong, The Lines You Amend, Can't Face Up. They're starting to write these great pop songs with funny, ironic lyrics. Yeah, it's a really good record, a classic. Anyone who has not heard it should check that one out. It's called One Chord to Another. All right, number 2 from 1999, Between the Bridges. So this is coming just 1 year after Navy Blues, which is an album that, as I said, I'm not crazy about. This takes a lot of that pop sound that they were doing on Navy Blues. Just refines it. It sounds more mature. It doesn't sound like a record from 1998 or 1999. It sounds like a timeless record that's recalling classic songwriters of the 70s and 80s and even in the 90s. Just really great record, great playing, great singing. Don't You Believe a Word, Long Time Coming, Waiting for Slow Songs, Losing California, The Marquee and the Moon, Take Good Care of the Poor Boy, Delivering Maybes. A lot of good stuff here. Really like that record, Between the Bridges. And number 1 from 2006, It's Never Hear the End of It. Amazing record, 30 tracks. So in vinyl format, it's a double album. It comes on 1 CD. Just so many good songs. Some of them are like 3-minute pop songs. Some of them are, under a minute. A lot of them are strung together. They play right one into the other. Flying High Again, Who Taught You to Live Like That, Fading into Obscurity, Right or Wrong, Something's Wrong, I Understand, Can't You Figure It Out, Set in Motion, Last Time in Love. So many good songs. Really not a bad song in the 30. So if you like power pop, presented in sort of an epic, elaborate way, then this might be the record for you. Highly recommend checking it out if you do not know it. And that is Listography of Sloan. Hit like if you like the video, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, or comment below, tell me what I got wrong, tell me what your Sloan list would be, and yeah, we'll see you on the next one.